Do you believe in gender equality?
That's a trick question.
No, it's quite...
No, it's a trick question. It's fine, sir. It's fine. I've been around the block. That's a trick question. I believe the genders are different, but equally important. I believe in equality in importance. I do not believe in equality in capabilities. I do not believe a man can have a baby. I do not believe the average woman can fight combatively against the average man. I believe we're built differently. I believe God has designed us to be different. We are two halves of a whole. And when a woman is feminine and a man is masculine and we work together, we create perfect unity, which is why we're designed to be different. So do I agree in gender equality? Yes. But that term is hijacked. That term is used as a Trojan horse for pretending that all the genders can do the same things. And that's not true. This is what they do in the Western world. They hijack terms. They come along and say, you don't believe in gender equality. I say, yes, I do. I believe we're equally important. No, because you don't believe that a woman can do everything a man can do. No, I don't, because she can't. And a man can't do everything a woman can do. We do different things. So I do believe in gender equality, but I don't believe in the new version of it that they're trying to purport on the populace because it's deliberately used as a weapon.
Let me ask you this then. A message you had for women was, you said to them, we save you from the female inclination to make stupid choices.
Yes.
Don't you think men make stupid choices?
Absolutely, but I would argue that women make emotional decisions more often than men. I think men make more logical decisions because life as a man is a more logical place and we have to ignore our emotions more often. Staying on the Titanic is not a logical decision. It's not the smartest thing to do. You just sit and ignore your emotions and say, this is what I'm supposed to do. Women are more often and more in tune with their emotions, which is a superpower, by the way. This is why they're better at a lot of things. This is why they outcompete men in many things. But emotional decisions can often be wrong because they're exactly that emotional. And if you look at any happy household, forget the Andrew Tate attack. You look at any happy household on the planet, there is a man who is man of the house, and the woman comes to him for advice because he is the man of the house, and he is more logical and more stoic and more cold and calculated. This is the way the world has always been and still is, and for anyone to pretend otherwise is a matrix attack.
It is very much a generalization. I think there are very many strong women. And I noted that you said about the lack of the man in the house. The disciplinarian, the person in charge, is responsible for society's ills, knife crimes.
This is the lack of fathers.
And yet, are you present as a father to your kids?
Absolutely. Of course. All I do is raise my children. And I'm in a unique financial circumstance. The fact that I can have so many children is because I'm unique financially. I think Elon Musk also has 11 kids. So it's not uncommon for billionaires to enjoy offspring at all. I think Genghis Khan had a few more than that. But this is common. But yeah, fatherlessness is the biggest pandemic. And when you say fatherlessness, I don't just mean a lack of man in the house. I mean a lack of man of character in the house. If the man is in the house and he's just soppy goo, well, then he's not going to do his job, is he? But if the man's in the house and is showing the benefits of discipline and hard work and taking the long road instead of shortcuts and doing the right thing because you're supposed to do the right thing as opposed to doing how you feel and ignoring your emotions and acting how you're supposed to act, well, then you're going to have a better society. So yeah, fatherlessness and lack of masculinity is what the society is suffering from. We need more masculinity in society, not less. And the fact they attack me and try and get rid of me is somehow toxic, and to move everything into this feminine frame of feelings and maybes and take depressive drugs when you feel sad and it's all going to be okay and men should be more in touch with their feelings. All of that is why we are the way we are.
Now, I don't normally bring personal stuff into my interviews. I'm very much there to hear the story. But I grew up without a father, and I would say my mother taught me the right things too. She taught me what the right things were. Yeah. And I wonder, surely women can also play that role.
Absolutely. Mothers are extremely important.
I mean, you say a lack of father, but in this case, the right kind of mother, or a mother who can be strong.
I would agree with you, but exceptions don't disprove the rule. If you were to look statistically, most males who are from a single mother household are more likely to commit crime than from a dual parent household. What's interesting is, my mother and father split up at age 9, and I spent all of my teenage years without seeing my father. And here I am, a beacon of success, brilliant, tall, strong, smart, and funny. So it can be done.
And humble.
So it can be done. But we have to talk in generalities. And in general, if you have two parents at home, it's better for the upraising, especially of boys, because boys commit a lot of the violence in society today. And this is another thing I want to make very clear. When we try and feminize men, which is what they're trying to do, they're trying to feminize men. They imagine these soft, eunuch version of men who sit at home and cry all day, and that is perhaps true. You do get some versions of men who act that way. But when you feminize a lot of other men, what you do is tell men to act on their impulse and act how they feel. And that's why you get crime. Murdering somebody is an emotional decision, as is rape, as is all these terrible, heinous crimes that happen. They're men with no emotional control and no self-control, told by society to act how they feel, expecting them to walk around talking about rainbows and butterflies all day. And instead, when someone makes them mad, they pull out a blade and stick it in his neck. So the whole thing is garbage. They're destroying society by destroying masculinity.
Andrew, isn't there a range, though? I mean, you're suggesting a man can't be emotional. And yet you say you're an emotional man sometimes.
No, I'm not suggesting they can't be emotional. I'm suggesting they should have control over their emotions. We should feel emotion, and we should control them. A man should feel angry when it's time to feel angry, and he should control it. As with sad and everything else, there's a time you must simply perform and do the right thing. Just as the men on the Titanic felt fear and ignored it and went into the water to save the women and children. This is the bottom line of masculinity since the dawn of human time, is to do what you're supposed to do because you have a duty, not to do how you feel. I'm sure the men in the trenches didn't feel like running over the top, but they had to because they were supposed to. That's what being a man is all about. And men should be waking up in the world today and say, I have to perform and act this way. I have to go to the gym even though I don't feel like going to the gym. I have to make money even though the economy is bad. I have to protect and provide for the people I care about. I have to do the right thing irregardless of how I feel. And the reason this is so important is because a small contingent of men do think this way. And you as a man will never be able to outcompete the people who do if you're going to act on feelings. If you're only going to go to the gym when you feel like going to the gym, you're going to constantly lose to the person who goes to the gym irregardless of how he feels, because he's there every day. And it's a very competitive world we live in, especially for men. And there's have-nots and have-yachts, and it's getting worse. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And if you're a man waking up in the world today in a normal life and you want to be anywhere, you have to be prepared to go against killers like me, with billions who work 18 hours a day every single day, who don't have a day off, in jail, out of jail, doesn't matter, want more. And if you're going to compete against me, you don't have time to sit around being sad, or you'll perpetually lose. And that's you're going to be a reality. You're going to be a loser. That's what's going to happen.
What if people don't want to compete with you at that level? What if they don't want a yacht?
That's
they
fine.
can still be happy.
That's fine. Of course, and they can still be happy. That's their decision. But if they stay at home wanting a yacht and not having one, well, then they have a problem then, don't they?
It's interesting. For a lot of people, the dichotomy of your life is an interesting one. You stated the view that modesty is feminine empowerment. Taking your clothes off on Instagram is not empowering. It's empowering to say that no man but my husband can see my body.
Correct.
And yet, your past, this contradicts your past, where you had women on webcams.
Correct.
And this is what you're accused of to a large degree.
Well, accused of, it's not a crime. So put it.
No, I mean the sense that, that contradicts, and especially, and we'll talk about you becoming a Muslim, but it contradicts your faith.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of life. The beauty of life is as we grow, we change. And I've been very honest and open about the fact that I used to have a business which helped girls make money on the internet. It's kind of funny because I grew up in Luton. I grew up in a council estate, single mother household, in a council estate. The most crime I was around. I was in the kids whose school who got arrested for murder. There was kids who stole cars and crashed the cars and died. My house was burgled 3 times. My neighbor's house was burgled. I knew drug dealers who were driving very nice cars at 19. I grew up around all the worst crimes. I didn't do any of them. None of that. What did I do? I helped people get traffic to a website. Oh, heaven forbid. If I wasn't famous, would any of this be even mentioned? No, of course not. So I did this back then. I was a younger man. I didn't know then what I know now. Now I have different morals and different principles and a different outlook on life, and I wouldn't do it again, of course. And I'm sure if you ask any 37-year-old if he thinks the same as he did when he was 21, well, they're probably going to say no. Jay-Z used to sell crack. He was a drug dealer. Now he's a mogul of the music empire. That's how it goes. That's life. Sometimes as a man, you got to get out of the ghetto. It is what it is. And I'm not going to sit here and say sorry for it or pretend to be sorry. I know that I didn't do a fraction of the bad things I could have done or was offered to do. I mean everything I said here. I mean that female empowerment is modesty. A woman who is powerful doesn't have to be ogled and stared at by random men, because when she decides to cover up, she's saving herself for the people she cares about or believe gets to see her. That is empowerment. I believe girls who get constantly naked on the internet are not empowering themselves. They're actually embarrassing themselves. I do believe that. Did I once profit from that 15 years ago? Yes.
So you've evolved.
Of course. I think I'd be a fool if I hadn't.